Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So this is the day before earnings. So yeah, this is going to be a lot to talk about and a pretty interesting way to head into earnings. So we'll discuss everything that we are currently, at least I am currently seeing, what I'm personally thinking moving forward, and yeah, I mean it's going to be definitely an interesting next let's just say 20 maybe 6-ish hours or so. Pretty much 24 hours from our market closes, and then of course about an hour and a half from there we have earnings, which lasts for about half an hour to an hour. Anyway, it will be a wild ride. But all that being said, let's jump into it. Let's talk about Tesla. The market literally just closed, so Tesla is going to be closing at $184.31, which is putting us down about 1.5%. Which again, compared to the market, definitely a bit of an underperformance. Nothing again completely out of this world crazy, but absolutely underperforming the the broader market, if you will. But all that being said, of course, as usual, if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, with all that being said, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Make your own decisions, do your own research, and all that good stuff. So as you guys see on this chart right here, right now, there's a few things to discuss. So first and foremost, this little bear flag, if you will, that we are, again, like we talked about, that we are in. Right, potentially still very, well, actually maybe not even in play, arguably, right? So we'll definitely see how tomorrow plays out, but at this point, it does seem like we're going to be selling off into earnings, if I had to take a guess. I personally think that we will sell off into earnings, and I actually think we'll probably come down to about 180 tomorrow at this point, mainly because, we talked about yesterday how, there's absolutely potential for Tesla to go up for the 5th touch point up here for the bear flag, right? But it's, it's not guaranteed, nothing is guaranteed. But again, because it isn't a bear flag, that should automatically tell you that this is a substantial more chance, at least in my opinion, of it playing out in a negative way, well, I guess a negative way for bulls, positive for bears, than it is the flip version of that, where it's good for the bulls, bad for the bears. That's usually how bear flags play out, but again, not all the time. But in this case, since we did draw these lines yesterday, even if you were to be a little bit more generous, you can still go something like this, and even this, you can still argue that it has a chance to still recover. But definitely, to me, it seems something like this is a little bit more accurate, if you will. Even the 2 hours actually a little bit better in my opinion as well. I guess it's a little bit of a better idea. Anyways, the point is that it does seem like it did break down to the south side. So we'll definitely have to see how tomorrow reacts. However, so far the market, post-market, is extremely negative. You can see Netflix actually reporting earnings clearly down pretty much 10%, which is going to bring down the market. You can see Tesla's already down 0.4%. Of course, we'll see how that actually goes, moving forward, but not a good sign, at least as of right this very moment. So we'll see what that actually ends up being. But all that being said and done, I wouldn't be surprised if, because we broke down from this bear flag to the south side, as you can see here, that, we do get a little bit of a sell-off into earnings, and tomorrow, potentially, we even go down about to, give or take, $180, $181, probably down another, like, 2-ish%, give or take. That would not shock me whatsoever, but if you go to the daily, you can see, so this is the little bear flag we were talking about, you can make an argument that we are in this overall massive channel where we came up, and this, actually, you can make an argument, is potentially still, this is, like, the final thing, I would say, bullish/bulls have to look forward to, essentially, you know what I mean? And the reason is because this can absolutely be argued that it is a massive, like, bull flag, bull pennant, whatever you want to call it. Came up, here's the flag, touch point, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we come out for touch point 5, which will pretty much bring us to 200. And if we break 200, I actually think Tesla can completely rocket from here and potentially go back up all the way to at least like 220, if not potentially even like 230. Honestly, that would not shock me whatsoever. So just keep that in mind. I definitely think something like this can actually play out for Tesla, but it's extremely vital. And in all honesty, it comes down to what earnings has in store for us, I guess, if you will. So a lot of people were also talking about, back when Tesla reported their earnings back here, like especially the previous quarter, everyone was saying it's going to fall, then instead it rallied. And yeah, it absolutely did rally. But you have to keep in mind, guys, it's not just like an apples to apples comparison in the sense of, like, if Tesla was trading at this exact level again right before this earnings and we're at, like, sitting around 140, let's say, yeah, absolutely. Then, you can definitely make a bit of a more of an argument that is kind of apples to apples-ish, right? There's still some differences, right? The financials, of course, for one quarter might not reflect the next quarter for better or for worse, right? But because Tesla is trading also, like, substantially higher, guys, like, you have to keep that in mind, right? Back here, we're trading at like 144. Now we're pretty much going into earnings like 25% higher in stock price than what it was back here when earnings got reported. That's a pretty important thing that I just think people are forgetting. They just think it doesn't matter. Oh, it's like, it's an important factor to consider. Let's just say that when it comes to, like, literal fundamentals and, is a stock overvalued, undervalued, all these kind of metrics, right? It's a pretty big difference, guys. You can't just casually ignore that, right? But even with all that being said, right, the way I look at it is like this, right? So the bulls, if you're a bull, this is absolutely what you want to be looking at, right? It's potential bull flag, or bear panic or bull flag, bull panic, whatever you want to call it, playing out. And again, the most important thing as a bull that you absolutely, without question, want to be seeing here is two things. Number one, if we do draw down tomorrow into earnings and we sell off into earnings, it wouldn't be a massive sell-off in my opinion. We'll see, of course, right? Nothing's for certain. This is a pretty wild day. No one can predict exactly what's going to happen for earnings. And if anyone says they can, they're full of shit. Quite simple. But as a bull, at least just from a strict technical analysis perspective, you really want like that 180 level to hold here, because if this 180 level doesn't hold, not only is that just a very important, just overall psychological level that we have been holding pretty well over here. We came down pretty much close to it right here. This candle, even like these candles here were all like just, you know, on that thin ice that we talked about several times as it was happening, how Tesla was just dancing with the devil almost right there. You know what I mean? Not only does it want to hold because it is just a crucial level psychologically and just technically as well, but it will also, if it does break below 180, on top of those negative factors coming into play, you'll also have, of course, it pretty much breaking down from this potential like last like chance for the bulls pattern right here, which of course is this, you know, bull pennant, bull flag, or whatever you want to call it, right? So very crucial, guys, very, very crucial that this kind of 180-ish level holds. Exceptionally crucial, especially right now. But again, even if it does, all it takes is a bad earnings for, you know, whatever reason, which, you know, again, this is an earnings a lot of people are eyeballing because Tesla has reduced the prices significantly over and over and over. And the biggest question right now across the Tesla community, I guess financially, if you will, would be how does it affect their margin? We already saw that it actually didn't affect sales as positively as people thought it would, with all these price decreases happening over and over, pretty much across the board, across every single division, right? North America, Europe, China, etc. It didn't affect the sales positively as people thought, and on top of that, it's absolutely still going to eat into the margin. Now, Tesla, of course, has phenomenal margin. Even if it does, they're still sitting at a very healthy margin, especially compared to the peers. However, with that being said, that does naturally mean potentially less overall profitability, right? I mean, it's still, you know, very profitable, but how much less profitable and how much worse have the margins potentially become compared to what it was prior to all these price decreases? Maybe they got substantially more efficient with how they make the cars, and maybe the margin actually didn't get affected as much, right? There's a lot of really kind of, you know, questionable, you know, unknowns, if you will, coming into this earnings that I think a lot of people will be eyeballing, and I think that is going to be kind of the make it or break it, right? The margins on the vehicles for this for the quarter of Q1. Very crucial stuff. However, again, with all that being said, that's more of a financial, that's more of like a fundamental, you know, analysis, if you will. But again, looking back strictly to technical analysis, we did break down arguably from this little bear flag, right? I think there's a pretty decent chance we'll come down to, you know, low 180s, you know, 181-ish, 180, something around there, maybe 182. But I do think we have a little bit of room to the downside because we broke to the downside here. It could be a fake breakdown, you never really know for sure. But with that being said, as long as 180 holds, I definitely think that, you know, this bear flag will kind of become irrelevant. I mean, technically for this to really truly play out, it would have to come down most likely, not only break out from here, but probably even come down to around the 170s. We'll see for this to truly play out, this bear flag, which it seems like it wants to play that out. But again, like I said, the bulls definitely want to be holding this 180 for this overall formation to still be intact right here. And if it does, it can bounce up, go up to potentially 200, right? Keep that in mind. It can either go up to 200, or it can do the classic where it comes down here, does like a fake halfway move up to the upside, which will pretty much bring us to about 191, and then it actually still comes back down and breaks to the downside, which would be very unfortunate for the bulls. So we'll have to pretty much go at it level by level, but as of right now, the most crucial level by far for tomorrow is $180. Absolutely vital that Tesla holds it if you're a bull. If you're a bear, you absolutely, without question, want 180, 181-ish to just completely demolish and just completely collapse underneath it. So we'll see what happens. But I did say if Tesla rallies into earnings, that's bearish. If it actually falls into earnings, in my opinion, that's slightly more bullish. However, if it does fall into earnings and go down to 180, that's only like a 2% more move to the downside after already a pretty much, you know, decent move to the upside for the past 3 days. Nothing too crazy. You know, it's not that much of a sell-off into earnings, so it's still fairly neutral, even if it does go to 180, because it's still not that crazy of a move to the downside. It's not like completely selling off, it's just kind of going down a little bit. So very important day for tomorrow, guys. Extremely important. But again, 180 extremely important, and if it holds, I'm definitely going to be eyeballing 190 next, potentially as high as 200. And for the bulls, you really want to see at some point it not only stay within this little pattern and kind of zigzag through it, right? Kind of zigzag through it like this. But you also absolutely need 200 to break. Like 200 is extremely important for the bulls. Like 180 is the bear level, 200 is the bull level. If 200 breaks, amazing for the bulls, horrible for the bears. If 180 breaks, Amazing for the bears, horrible for the bulls. Absolutely crucial level. So just keep that in mind, guys. On top of that, of course, like I said yesterday, the volume is still decreasing. We actually had an exceptionally low volume today. We haven't seen a volume this low on Tesla since pretty much all the way back here, which was back in December. So pretty much this is the lowest volume we've seen all year on Tesla, even lower than this day over here. So just keep that in mind, right? Which, is that good or is that bad? Hard to say, but all that means to me right now, like we talked about yesterday, with a decreasing volume overall while this whole consolidation is happening, taking into account the Bollinger Band still slowly but surely getting tighter and tighter, this just means that tomorrow or Thursday probably Thursday, should be a pretty explosive day for the most part, if not after hours tomorrow. So massive move, guys, on its way, ready to go, gonna be wild. Again, it's quite simple for now. 180 for the bulls. Well, I guess, and the bears. 180 for the bulls to hold, to keep the momentum going back up. 180 for the bears to break in order for the momentum to continue going downwards. And again, 200 for the bulls to break in order for this to really play out this potential bull pattern right here. This bullish pennant, bullish flag, whatever. So the upside, it potentially go up to like even as high as 230 in all honesty, which would be quite the rally. I think it's absolutely possible. But the bears definitely want to defend at 200, and they definitely don't want 200 to break because that would be extremely bad. But that's kind of the overall thing that I am currently looking at, right? On top of that, if we go back to the 1 hour, let's just say, I do want to, actually we'll keep it for now. But, so as you can see on the 1 hour or the 2 hour, even let's just say, we have this little breakdown right here. But if we go to TSLQ, you can see it is actually pretty much arguably breaking out. I mean, we had a bit of a breakout right here, which ended up obviously being false. So you can still argue that it's not actually broken out. You can definitely make this argument like this. So hard to say for sure, but man, it is on some seriously thin ice right here. And yeah, I think tomorrow will be very, very important and extremely, extremely crucial. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, guys, right now. So let me know what you think down below. Wild day tomorrow coming up that will dictate quite a bit for Tesla, but again, 180 and 200 right now, the most important levels, with 180 being my close watch, my very close watch, because it's very close to it, and it looks like it potentially wants to come and retest that one more time moving into earnings, which is going to put it on some pretty damn thin ice. But all that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.